Welcome to Splinter Solutions. Today we're looking at a new Beretta pistol. This is the Beretta 92 GTS. This is new this year. This is a very unique pistol because it sort of talks about an age-old complaint people have had with the M992 series. Now, those of you who are not familiar with the original 92 series, the original Beretta Model 92 had a frame-mounted safety. It was mounted on the frame, not on the slide. Now, just goes to get a little bit more of a background. The original Model 92 had a military contract in Brazil. Italy had opened up a manufacturing facility in Sao Paulo to manufacture these Model 92 series pistols. Once that contract was over with, they sold that manufacturing facility to Taurus International. Now, Taurus has gone on to make the PT92 series, which has basically been if one would want to call a budget Beretta. Basically, they kept the tooling and everything of the original Model 92, and they updated it. As years went on, they always kept the frame-mounted safety. They eventually put a decocker on it, PT92 AFS, and so on and so forth. So the original 92 series still stayed alive with the Taurus series. However, Beretta very, very quickly decided to go to the slide-mounted safety. Now, throughout the history of the Beretta 92 series, all of its models going from the 92, 92S, 92SB, 92F, 92FS, eventual M9, and so on and so forth, they all maintained the slide-mounted safety. What many would claim with the 92 series or the M9 pistol series is they would go to cock the slide, they would pull the slide back, and then inadvertently they would engage the safety and it would decock it. Now, quite frankly, I never had this problem because generally the way that I always loaded it was I would grab from the top, pull back like so, or I would grab from the top and pull back. I never grabbed from the rear. But that was a complaint that many people had with the M9 or 92 series, and they preferred the Taurus over that. So now we fast forward to 2024, the introduction of the 92 GTS. Now, this is the 92G comes from the fact that it's a G model trigger. The Beretta 92 series has had a F series, which is a safety on decocker. 92G is decock only. You would drop your safety down, it would decock, then it would flip back up, you're ready to go in double action mode. And of course, you had some other models as well. The 92 GTS is specifically the G mode. So with the 92 GTS, you would engage the safety by pushing upward on the frame-mounted safety. That would decock. Then when you drop down. So then now you're in a double action mode. So your first shot's going to be the long drawn double action trigger pull, and then you're going to go into the single action mode. So again, this is sort of I never had a problem with this, but this was one complaint that the 92F series had, and the M9 had throughout the years. So let's take a look at what else they have on this pistol, starting at the slide. On the top, you'll see this is optics ready. By removing these two screws and removing these two plates here, you can put a plate on to mount your favorite LPVO that you'll be able to have on top of your slide. Also notice that we have a fiber optic front sight, which is removable. Came out with the Beretta Brigadier series where you were able to have a removable front sight rather than have an original 92 series sight, 92F sight, which is manufactured into the slide. Going to the back, we see a low mass hammer. Now, what the Vertec basically means is you have a straight back strap on here instead of having the arch on here, which basically means that if you have smaller hands, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to hold on to. So you have a straight back strap, and you have a nice checkering on here, as you can see. You have your polymer grips on the side, and then when you look at the front of the front strap, you'll see we also have checkering on here as well, so that gives you a nice curve to be able to get a hold of it. Now, taking a look at the trigger, you have the enhanced trigger of the M9A1. Basically, what this was for mounting flashlights. So with the original 92 series, they had difficulty mounting some of the Surefire type flashlights that were used. So the Marine Corps had requested and have this modified here so we'll be able to take the flats of these tactical lights. Again, with the original 92 series, if you had a standard type trigger guard, the light would normally sit up too far. It'd be a little bit harder for you to be able to reach the activation button. With this type of a trigger guard, you'd be able to take your flashlight, mount it rearward, and it'd be much closer for you to engage with your trigger finger. And of course, we have a 1913 accessory rail on here as well. Something else that's sort of a departure from the original 92 series is the finish. Now, with the introduction of the M9, actually a little bit before that, with the introduction of the Model 92F, is when Beretta went to the new Bruneton finish, which is a very good military-grade finish. It was very corrosion resistant. Well, now we're seeing the next generation, which they're getting rid of the Bruneton, and they're going over to this NDLC finish, which you're seeing very common right now. The NDLC finish is supposed to be near diamond-like coating for as far as durability and reliability. I have a lot of experience with Bruneton over the last 30 or so years. I know how well that works. NDLC to me is still a little bit new. I don't have as much of experience with it as many may, so I'm still waiting to have the jury out on that. But all of your parts are NDLC finished. Now, the other thing that the NDLC does is when you finish your internal components, what it will do is it will make them a lot more slick. It's sort of like a lubricious type feeling. So technically you're going to get a little bit nicer of a trigger. Now, looking at the trigger on here, this trigger is it's quite nice. I guess comparing it to the standard M9, yeah, there's a difference. I would definitely say the NDLC coating on these trigger components makes a little bit difference in the feel of that trigger. So sticking with your standard 92, you also have your live cartridge indicator on the top here. When you have a live cartridge in there, your extractor will stick out. You'll be able to see the red on there. You'll also be able to run it over it with your finger. You'll be able to see just by feeling it if it's there. Now the barrel on here, you also have it says countersunk bore on here, which basically protects the crown of the barrel. If you compare these two muzzles, you can see how you have this is countersunk in here pretty well. So this is more protected. This will help increase your accuracy versus your standard M9 type. Again, both of these are chrome plated. Beretta is still one of the few companies in the industry today that still chrome plates all the barrels. Of course, if you notice, this is more of the Brigadier type configuration. Looking here, you can see how the muzzle sticks out on the original 92F or M9 series. Basically, the model that had the barrel that did not stick out was referred to as the Centurion model. Now, the magazine is also a nice departure on here. We now have an 18-round magazine instead of a conventional 15-round magazine. So that's another enhancement of this new series. So let's take this thing apart, take a look at the inside. Again, like any Beretta, you would something latch release button, some latch release lever. Comes right off as you like so. We have our recoil spring plunger, and we have our barrel assembly. Now, looking in here, this is very clear to see the NDLC finish on here. It has a much shinier way to it than the Beretta, which is more of a flat color. Again, you have your most important feature of any pistol is the firing pin safety in here. Again, Beretta, what you would expect to have these things is beautifully finished. This is actually manufactured here in the States. It's manufactured in Gallatin, Tennessee. Unfortunately, you don't see the manufacturer in Accokeek, Maryland any longer, just due to the fact that Maryland was not a gun-friendly state. And again, the barrel that we have here, as we can see, the standard facilitating block. Again, this is the most updated block, which probably will give you between 17 and 20,000 service life on here. And looking at your frame, you're looking at basic legacy here for the most part. The only change that you will see on here, again, is the frame-mounted safety instead of the slide-mounted safety. And really, when it comes down to these two guns, if you were to compare this to a regular Vertac, getting down to brass tacks, that's really the only major change that you had with it, was this. Now, is there going to be how popular will this pistol be? I don't know. Again, there was people who I remember back in the day who were complaining about the fact that they had the slide-mounted safety. Again, that was just not a problem that I ever had. Once I got used to using the M9, I had no problems with it whatsoever. So reassembly is the same as any Beretta. Drop right on like so. And again, this is something that I've loved about Beretta since I was a kid, just how smooth these actions are on these things. It's just like everything is like on ball bearings. You shake this, you don't hear any rattling whatsoever. Just very, very well made. So looking at some of the specifications on this, again, this is a full-size pistol, double single. Your first shot is that long draw double action pull. Then we go into single action, the shorter pull. Some people like being able to have a double strike capability. Some prefer strikers. And again, comparing a modern striker to this, the striker's benefit is you have the same trigger pull first to last each time. The benefits to the double single action is that long drawn heavy double action pull is pretty much going to ensure that that's not going to go off accidentally, because it's going to take a significant amount of pressure for that thing to go off. And then, of course, your single action is your more accurate shots for the most part. But the double single, that transition, many people will say you pull your long draw double action pull, you're going to pull downward. And then when you have your single action, you're going to pull upward, because now you're anticipating that heavier downward pull. Then, of course, after you get your first shot on single, then you're going to be back and forth. You're going to be right where you need to be. So, again, double single, I have to say it's not something you see much of anymore. It's pretty much gone by the wayside. We are looking at an industry full of striker fire pistols now, but you come back to something like this that's absolutely gorgeous machining, and there's a lot of tradition in here. So you're looking at materials. Again, you're looking at an aluminum alloy frame. You're looking at a steel slide. You have a grip width of 1.5 inches in width. You have an overall height of 5.4 inches, and you have a grip width of 1.5 inches. And again, this is an excellent home defense pistol. This would be even a very good duty pistol. So if someone chose, they wanted to go with the more traditional pistol. We're taking this out to the range, and we're going to see how it shoots.
Main difference between the standard 92 FS and this model here is you have a frame-mounted decocker instead of a slide-mounted. This is also the G model, which when you engage, it decocks and it goes back into double action mode. So your first shot's going to be the long drawn double, then it's going to go into single like a standard M9 would do.
Well, we put about 700 rounds through this pistol. We have to thank our friends over at Federated Ordnance. This manufacturing company is relatively new in Idaho. They're a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility of brand new equipment. As of now, they're manufacturing 124 grain 9mm, basically the M882 ball type ammunition, and they're also manufacturing 5.56mm M193 ball. This ammunition here, again, being 124 NATO, I was quite pleased with it. And we fired, again, 700 rounds without a single malfunction with this pistol, which is what we would expect from Beretta. As you can see from the target, it shot rather well. Berettas always do. The single action trigger pull on these things are absolutely to die for. They're gorgeous. Now, any guys who watch my channels, you guys know I'm a Beretta fan from way back. This particular pistol here, this was the pistol I got when I was 17 years old. I was one of the youngest people in New York State to ever get a pistol permit at that point in time. And this is the pistol I carried probably from the time I was 17 up until 21 years old, as I think when I got my first SIG 229, and I went to the USB 40. But this pistol I carried for a long time. This pistol has got, oh God, you're probably looking at 15,000 plus through this one. It doesn't look like it though, does it? And there's a reason for that. I went to a Beretta Armor School around 1994, 95. And I brought this pistol with me, and I gave them the slide, and they refinished the slide for me, and they refinished the barrel. So this pistol basically looks brand new. You never know what it actually had through it. But I'm a Beretta fan from way back, and I'm always interested when Beretta comes up with new pistols, especially in the 92 series, because there's one hell of a legacy there. So I'd like to thank our friends over at Challenge Targets for providing that target that we shot at. Again, we only shot maybe 20 or 30 rounds or so on the paper targets just to see how accurate it was. And the rest of them weren't those steel targets. It's a hell of a lot more fun hearing that ping. So if you're interested in getting any steel targets, we have 10% off of any of the steel targets on their webpage by using the code SAS. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share.